through ministry. So I started first with doing outreach for the homeless and helping the homeless with toiletries, food, clothing. And then we also started helping families with children, infants, with diapers, clothes, and baby food. So that's how I started. And then I thought, you know what? This is something I'm passionate about. I want to be able to help people who have a need. And so I started Love Action INT 10 years ago. So far, I feel like we've had a lot of accomplishments over the years. I'll just share one of them. That is our volunteer program. We have a volunteer program that started with just one contract with the sheriff's department, where we would have volunteers from the sheriffs come in and volunteer their hours. And then it grew. And so we expanded and we were able to get volunteers from different organizations like AmeriCorps, also from colleges and high schools, and which it helped the high school students and college students with their requirements for graduation. And we've been able to document thousands of volunteer hours.
Awesome.
Some obstacles we faced. Just not having enough resources, financial resources to be able to um, support some of our programs that we'd like to have or that we have had. One of them being our food program. So we serve probably about maybe 200 people a month. We had to downsize on that program just for funding purposes. We didn't have enough funds to be able to grow it out to maybe 500 people a month. So really with a lack of resources, financial. So those are some of the barriers. Some other barriers were, of course, like many other people, COVID. Um, it it really hurt a lot of families, and we were not able to support as many families as we were in the past, just because of COVID. So that was really challenging for us. And really, that's probably all I can think of right now. But
Yeah.
the pandemic ended, so we were able to come back, and thank goodness because we came back January 2024. So we're just back now 9 months, and which is wonderful. We've relaunched many of our programs. Through COVID, we did assist families primarily online with advocating for elementary school students in a couple of different districts. We advocated for their IEPs. And so a lot of what we did was online. And the only two events that we continued to host throughout the pandemic was our gift of giving, which we gave out toys to all the kids in December, and then our Thanksgiving dinners, which we provided to many families over the years. But other than that, it was the pandemic. We were able to overcome that because it ended, and then with funding, we have just kind of continued to look for different grant opportunities and look at different foundations that are willing to support us. And we've hosted more events this year than I think we've ever hosted ever. So we definitely got more funding through sponsors. So those are some of the ways which we faced our challenges, and we were able to overcome some of our barriers. And the time has flown by. It definitely does not feel like 10 years. I'm so grateful, though. I think about all the people we've helped and served over the years and just the impact we've had within the communities that we do serve. And even just within our staff alone, just how we've impacted their lives because we've given a lot of job opportunities to people who might not have had them. And So it has been 10 years, but it doesn't feel like it. It still feels very fresh. So when we first started LAI, it was just a struggle not really understanding the nonprofit industry. And that was probably maybe our first 2, 3 years was probably our biggest struggle. And I had some doubts about, could I do this? Could I get the community engaged? Um, could I get people activated to want to do this work? And so there were some doubts initially, but the more I was consistent in our cause of really helping to develop our community, I realized that I could do this, and that everyone on our team could do this, and that our community could do this. So,
That price.
who is my biggest influence? Let's see. Um, hmm, my biggest influence. That's a hard one. Honestly, it would be my family, my friends. They're my biggest influence. Like, my husband, just that he's hardworking. He is so committed and dedicated. He's a big influence on me, and he pushes me to do this work. My children, they're my why, in every aspect. And so I look at the things I want for my children, the quality of life that I want them to have. And that's what I see that I want for all the kids in our community. So they're my why for why we really push education and really push kids to thrive in education and support everything from mathematics to STEAM to engineering to English, especially reading. Um, I would say definitely my husband, my kids, and my community are my greatest influencers.
And then
It is let our voices echo action intentionally. So it is about us supporting the community and helping the community to thrive. So connecting resources. Love Action INT is a bridge from people who are in need to the resources that they need. And so we kind of help to bridge that gap. And then it is to help develop our community so economically that our community is doing better than it has been in previous years and in every way. So whether it's job placement, whether it is helping students academically to go from one level to the next and then into career pathways, whether it's helping immigrants with connecting them to resources to become legalized, to understanding what's needed for them to get their children into schools, to get connected with doctors. So it's just really bridging that gap between community needs and the resources. At LAI. And then we have a pool of volunteers. So on any given day, we may have 4 to 6 volunteers, depending on what we're having. So if it's a special event, we get tons of volunteers in. If it's a just something in the garden on day to day, maybe just 2 or 3 volunteers that come out for that. We also have a team. It's called Love Action INT committees, and those are just different partner organizations that have come together because they believe in our cause, we believe in their causes, and we just come together to support one another on different projects.
us.
For one, check out our website, see where they feel like they fit in at LAI, and they can register right online as a volunteer. They can come in, they can walk in, they can call us, they can email us. We have tons of volunteer opportunities, ranging from our media group, ranging from after school with the tutoring, working in our garden, helping at different events. You name it, we do so much. So there are a ton of volunteer opportunities that people have with us. And also for high school students that need their graduation requirements, we'd love to have them to come and volunteer with us. I know that there are a lot of organizations that don't take high school students, but we are one that does. There are also very few middle school students that need volunteer hours, as well as their parents, and our doors are open for them as well. As many college students who need to intern, and because they have a program that has to satisfy those requirements, we welcome them as well. 5 years. I do know that this year we expanded from one territory. We were just in North Highlands, and this year we expanded to Foothill Farms, Del Paso Heights, Alta Arden, and Natomas. And so within the next 5 years, we also want to expand out to Oak Park and South Sacramento for services and programs. And we also want to expand into school sites. So in 5 years, we want to expand, because we did also do an expansion this year with going into different affordable housing units. And so within the next 5 years, we also want to go into the high schools, into the schools, well, all the schools, so elementary, middle school, and high school,
Middle school.
and potentially into maybe colleges as well. It was a community effort. So we had a committee, and we all threw out different names, and love resonated, because love, overcomes all, and it encompasses all. And we're a very inclusive organization. And so we wanted the word love in there. And then we're like, okay, love is an action word. And so we were like, okay, love, action. And then we thought about intentionally, because we were thinking, oh, should we do incorporated? Should we do international? We're like, no, international. So we said, but you know what? Intentionally, we want people to love and act on that intentionally. And so came Love Action INT, which means love, action, intentionally. Our mission initially was just to help anyone who asked for it. So anyone who had a need, we just tried to fill it. That was what we did initially. So we did a lot of handing out. We did a lot of just giving away things for free. And that changed because we realized that it's true, there is an initial need that a lot of people do have, and we could give out a lot of things, but it's not sustainable. And so what we realized is that instead of just fulfilling the initial need that people had, we need to address why they had that need. And so some of that was drug abuse. Some of that was due to homelessness because maybe they didn't have enough income. They had one job, but it wasn't enough income to stay housed. Just various reasons why people had these needs. And so when we start looking at and addressing those needs, we shifted our programming to not just being a hand out, but really being a hand up, to really saying, okay, so if you need a job, then let's help you with a resource for workforce development, maybe helping you get a better paying job, or helping, get an additional, a second job, or helping students academically. So if they were acting out in school, instead of them being suspended, let's maybe come up with a game plan of, how to help these particular students, maybe giving them something to do in the community that gave them self-esteem. So we really started doing programming that helped people to help themselves.
Wow.
So the truth of the matter is, I was totally inspired by God. And that's the truth. That's why I started through ministry. And then I'd have to go back to my whys. My inspiration really comes from my kids. They're my whys, and my kids are probably no different than many other people's kids. And so if I can do something to better my own children's lives, then that's the same exact thing that other people will want for their kids' lives. So that's what I want to do for other people's kids as well. It's like a whole unit, the family is. It's a core. So if you can improve the life of your own children, it enhances and improve your own life, as well as your husband, your family members that are closest to you, your whole entire community. And it's just like a ripple effect, you know. You start with your why. And that's what it was for me. And, contact us on our website. It's at www.loveactionint.org. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and I'm not the best social media person, but what's the other one? Twitter, Instagram, and there's another, Facebook. And it's just no Facebook. And then you can also call us at 916-538-2561. You can email us at info@loveactionint.org. So many people to thank. I'd like to thank you, Jerry, for just doing this interview to give us more exposure, and just for supporting LAI in the ways that you do. I also would like to thank all of my staff because they make it happen. They make this possible. If it wasn't for our staff members and our volunteers, we just wouldn't exist. They're who sustains us to be able to help as many people and as many families as we can. And I'd like to thank just all of our community partners, from Lutheran Social Services to Next Move, to the Sacramento Sheriff's Department, to the North Highlands Park and Recreation, to, it's just so many of them. Let's see, to Color the Block, to Act on Kindness, and so many more. Those are just some of our community partners, but there's a whole lot more. I like to thank them because they support our efforts, and they help get us through year after year with just resources, with real-time support. They help even if I just have a question about something. There you go. Yeah. So I would say if you um, have any spare time, advice that I would give is to find a nonprofit, ours preferably, but any nonprofit that you really have a passion for the work that they do, and volunteer some of your time because it makes a difference. It makes a huge difference. And it won't just make a difference in your life, but it'll also make a difference in the lives of the people that they serve and in the communities that they serve.